Okay, today there's a different topic altogether. It's a different topic, and it is the tangibilities. So once, okay, the tangibilities. The tangibilities in the sense that you know the tangibility to know something. So, what is tangibility? Tangibility is basically the faculties by which we know things. We know things. We know things. So that means a child is knowing the love of his mother by touch, basically touch, and more than verbally saying "I love you." In words, like the small childs and infants normally, they uh, they depend upon touch and touch. So tangibilities is basically, we can say, it's the touch, but more than that, it is the different faculties we use in order to know things. So it can be the skin in the most concrete level and in the most lower or the most intimate level, and then we have the senses, five senses, basically, which is above in the head. So all these faculties we use to know things. So finally, the tangibility comes from the reading, for example, and movie. A movie, people can watch, different people can watch in different standards. Even the uneducated people also can watch a movie and understand things. But to know things from a book is quite different. So it requires some refinement of the mind, some quality we need to cultivate. That's the reading habit is only for few people. But movie, anybody can see and understand that. So tangibilities is basically the knowing things. So without tangibility, it becomes a blind belief. If somebody believes that that is something, and without knowing that, then it becomes a blind belief. Blind beliefs. So this is called the tangibility. So when we develop our tangibility, then we really know things. Otherwise, we believe or blindly believe things. And we know that Earth is rotating around the sun, and we know pictures. We see pictures and all, but we believe that on the basis of something we already have experimented with. So these experiments we do in the primary schools and other schools, like a globe, for example, is brought by the teacher in the class and shows this is round and so on, and look at that. So in order to make it firm, the teacher is saying a lot of examples on the basis of what we already touch, the shape, for example. So when we say that it's a sphere, the earth is a sphere, then the teacher is bringing a sphere, telling that your something in the house is a sphere, the ball is a sphere, the child is playing with the ball, it's a sphere. So like that, the tangibility is getting developed to the finest stage of, what is the finest stage? It is starting from the skin level, and from the skin it is getting developed, and it's refined. It's getting refined to the higher level of because skin is actually, we have the tangibility of the skin, and then the mouth in which we take food. So these two things are tangible things by the skin. So both are quite different, of course, and finer and denser. Different concepts are there. Then we have the nose by which we smell things, and then we hear and hear and learn things, and we see things. So what is a final? So this goes from the lowest being the skin to the highest being refined, being the ear, actually. So that means the most refined tangible is ear. That's why Jesus told us that let them who has an ear, let them hear. That means the wisdom comes to the ear. But the wrong wisdom often comes to the skin only. That's why the example of Saint Mary and Eve. Saint Mary, the wisdom came through the ear by the annunciation. But for Eve, it came through the skin, the snake. So these are our senses, the upgrading and downgrading of senses. Anybody can understand the skin level of things because it's basic tangible things, but only refined people can only understand the wisdom that comes to the ear and that comes through the word, etc., etc. So what I'm trying to say is basically, in order to know things, we need to fill this gap of tangibility between what it is the other side, what we believe, or what is there, and us. We are with the body. So it has broader senses actually. Last day I was talking to one of our priests, Father Saju, in the St. Antonius there in Puthuti. So I was telling that the people, the extremities of the theology, Oriental Orthodoxy, which actually has been developed in the caves and mountain tops, hilltops and all. And now the people are quite different. Like the mobile phones, they are exposed to various medias and the energies even. So the caves, when we enter into the Orthodox Church, we get an experience. We enter into a cave or a mystic place where they faced God in the hilltops and the lonely places and the solitude, etc., etc. But outside we are exposed to various sources of medias and the pictures and all kinds of new age gadgets and widgets, etc., etc. So this gap is there. So I was telling to Father Saju there, that priest, he was a Dairo priest, not Rambachan, but a Dairo priest actually. So this gap is making people not come into contact with who God is, because St. John the Evangelist told us that God is love. So if the love is not tangible, then it remains a blind thing, like God is love. Oh, who knows that? That is a side, that is in the bracket, who knows that? God is love, who knows that? So that means only when we come in contact with the love of God that we think that God is love. Otherwise, somebody say that God is love, that's it. So now even in mobile phones and all, the different tangibility is there. So they have a different kind of tangibility developed, which is basically not good, and people are only mimicking their faith. And the church then says that okay something, and then they go, but they are not coming into contact with the real truth actually. So what I'm trying to say is basically this two images that has been presented in the Genesis, the two logics, is one is the tree of life and the other is the tree of good and bad. So tree of good and bad, actually the tangibility option was through skin, through the snake. So the Eve got so-called wisdom. That wisdom was actually not wisdom, but the wrong wisdom, that of pride. That came through the skin, because that's a common thing between snake and snake and Eve. But on the other side, the tree of life was there, but they didn't taste that. But who tasted it first? Saint Mary. Saint Mary tasted it by wisdom. She accepted the word of God through the ear. So all the wisdom that coming through the ear means not only through the ear, but that which is written in the letters, through the scriptures. Scriptures are all actually is related to ear only. Ear is actually the wisdom. That's why Jesus said that, let them who has an ear, let them hear. So each of the senses have different tangibilities that we understand things, and they develop our inner senses. So without the inner senses, the outer senses are actually waste without the inner senses, because we accept the inputs through the outer senses and we collect it in the inner senses, and the inner sense is processing that to create image of things, and also not only things but about us also. Who who am I? Who am I among all these images? Where do I stand? That image also is created by this this inputs from the outer senses. So without the inner senses, outer senses are basically waste. It's a kind of waste actually. That's exactly like, without the CPU, the computers, peripherals, cameras, keyboards are actually ultimately waste actually. Without the CPU, processing unit should be there. So inner senses are the processing unit, but we require outer senses also to live in this world. Otherwise, people will be disabled people, disabled. Like without the eyes, they have limited exposure to the world. Without the ears, the person is deaf. Without the speaking ability, the person is dumb. And a lot of without walking, the person is lame, and so on. So the outer senses also are are required. Outer senses also are required actually. So, but one has to understand the people can be a drunkard. People can drink from the morning to evening, drink and be drug addicts, and at the same time, the another person can pratyahara. This is called the 8 limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga, we have a particular step which is called pratyahara. Pratyahara means, prati means instead, and ahara means to consume, to eat. So the Lent and fasting is actually in the range of pratyahara. That means we stop something, stop eating food from outside, and then we eat from prayer and Lent, and then spiritual food we actually eat. This is called pratyahara. So only when we limit this, then only we can have another food coming through the other senses. So I was talking when I was talking to Father Saju on this tangibility issues that people are facing with us, especially about this Oriental Orthodoxy, where the extreme theology is there. Then actually I was telling, so he was asking what is the remedy for this. So I was even telling that he has we have the black dog, white dog concept is there, exactly, because black dog is being fed too much. It is strong and loud, even we will not hear, even from the white dog, even we do not see, because white dog is already sleeping. It's given food only for 1 or 2 hours, not only proper food, even some kind of food in the Sundays and all. But white dog is very, very weak, without able to even groan, not even a groan he cannot produce. It's already dead actually. It's in a dead state. But the other side, black dog is loud and strong, and is always barking 24/7. He's barking with the wrong food, being fed with the in Malayalam, so durmedas. Durmedas means the bad fat, accumulating bad fat from outside without, like, the bad fat, durmedas, and which is coming through the out of the mobile phones and from the meat consumption, and animal food consumption is very important in that regard. It's giving a lot of pride into our body. So this already we discussed episode. We have an episode about prostrations and how we shed this pride. Is basically prostration is one kind of way. But what I'm trying to say is basically this black dog which is being fed too much. Is loud, strong, and too much powerful. But the white dog is almost dead, and sometimes he'll be giving a small piece of rusk or sauce, not even good food, but some waste food he is giving, even and spoon feed. When we are spoon feeding the white dog, the black dog is given quintals and kilograms of meat and a lot of delicacies daily basis we are giving. So because of that, white dog is already dead and is only not able to produce even a sound, single sound it's not able to produce. So there comes the tangibility. So what is this tangibility that the two logics were there? He was looking at the 2 trees actually. So what were the 2 logics they were produced? One was actually the tree of life, that's Christ himself, and what the logic he was providing is love. Love is the tangibility, and because in order to attain that, he was suggesting as a remedy to the tangibility which has been developed through the force, the touch of the skin, He was giving the tangibility of the food of Holy Communion. Holy Communion. So that's why Jesus gave only two commandments. One is to have my body and blood, precious body, precious blood of our Lord Jesus Christ, which is Christ Himself, and to love one another. These are the two commandments actually. Jesus gave. Christ gave us two commandments. So that means the tangibility of that has been developed through the snake by the fall of Eve. Jesus is giving His body in order to be an antidote, in order to have an antidote for the fall actually. And then the love. So it's not only this. It doesn't limit there. It is not enough basically. But then we develop a love to God. So by love we know God. So God's love with us. That is a tangibility with God. Now, if we do not develop a love, even if we have the Holy Communion, then we do not actually reaching the purpose of consuming the Holy Communion. So that is the formula that Jesus is providing, or the tree of life. But the tree of the snake is actually giving the tangibility, and by which the fear and opposite to love actually, fear and slavery, because love is a kind of expression of freedom, to choose somebody by freedom, by love. But other is associated with fear and slavery and pride. Three things: pride, fear, and slavery are the three things that's been developed by the snake on the other side. These are the tangibilities developed by the snake actually. Tangibilities. So these are the two means of tangibilities, two ways of tangibilities that each side of us, even now, our existential things, is we are developing. So that's all for the tangibility. It's a short recording. We'll come with another topic, but it's just a small introduction to this vast topic of tangibilities and senses. Tangibilities extending to the senses, outer senses and inner senses, and which is basically by which we know things and we create image of that in our inner senses. This is a vast topic actually. So we have a very small introduction to that, and we need to dig deep into that. Maybe we'll do it later, but for now. And thanks a lot for hearing me. May God bless all. Thank you very much.